Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the first game preview of the Premier League season. Of course, Everton travel down to London tomorrow to face Crystal Palace at 3 PM, of course, in our opening fixture. Really exciting, obviously, after quite a disappointing day yesterday, of course. We done a live stream talking about the deadline day, talking about, obviously, the lack of movement regarding Everton Football Club, other than, obviously, the signing of Alex Iwobi. Deadline day is done, the transfer window is done, it's all shut, obviously. We know that only players can leave now to European clubs, but of course we expect no first teamers to leave, only sort of fringe players to go out and maybe get some moves away from the club, and obviously that would only benefit us in terms of the wage bill and obviously getting some transfer budget in as well. So the transfer window is shut, no more players coming in, and hopefully no more first teamers going out. We've got a lot to talk about today. Like I said, it is the game preview. We're going to talk about tomorrow's opening fixture. We're going to talk about Wilfried Zaha once again, of course, because he could feature, according to Crystal Palace manager Roy Hodgson, tomorrow. We're also going to give my predicted starting 11. I want to talk about Moise Kean today because I think it's really important that we have a little bit of a discussion, not only about Kean, but about the rest of the new signings as well, because in my personal opinion, I'm not too sure whether we'll see many of them in the starting 11. I think we might get a glimpse of Moise Kean throughout the game. I think he might come on as a substitution. However, I'm not too sure whether Marco Silva will deem him ready to start his first Premier League game yet, despite the player saying himself that he is ready. We're also going to talk about the squad numbers. They have been released today. There's been a couple of noticeable changes. A lot of the players have stayed the same, but there has been a couple of noticeable changes, so we'll go through them. And we're going to talk about the third kit as well and the kit situation. So if you didn't know, if you haven't been on Twitter today, if you haven't been on social media, basically Everton Fan Services announced earlier that we will in fact be playing in this kit tomorrow. This is the third kit from last season. I actually really like it. It's one of my favourite kits, but the reason for this is obviously because we haven't revealed or released our third kit for this season yet, and the FA deemed the coral pink away kit too similar to Crystal Palace's home kit, basically, and obviously the blue home kit too similar to Crystal Palace's home kit as well. Makes a little bit of sense given that John Moss is the referee and he's blind as fuck anyway, so it makes a little bit of sense in that term. However, of course, like I said, we're going to be wearing this kit tomorrow afternoon, so you'll see the likes of Moise Kean, hopefully Jean-Philippe Gbamin as well, and other new signings in last year's away kit, so it might seem a little bit strange. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I want to talk about it because I think it's important that we point this out, because obviously realistically we should have all three kits released by the start of the Premier League season. I'm not that disappointed because I really like this one. However, it's a little bit silly because effectively we should have had the third kit ready for this season to go and play in, if this eventuality would have happened, which obviously it has. Evertonian TV says, hello everyone, hello Evertonian TV, hope you are doing well. Mo says, yes Cam, yes Mo, I hope you are doing well. Ian says, hi Cam, do you think Tom will start with Schneiderlin and Gomez in midfield tomorrow? I don't. I think the midfield will be either Gomez, Sigurdsson, Gbamin, or Gomez, Sigurdsson and Schneiderlin, and we'll talk about why I put Gbamin in just a little minute. We'll go through the predicted starting 11, of course. CJ says, I will bring 3 new players on at half time. I don't know whether he'll make changes that quickly. However, I do think we will see Moise Kean tomorrow. I do think we will see Jean-Philippe Gbamin in some capacity. Obviously, Fabian Delph, will talk about him in a little minute because he is injured and won't be able to feature, and Alex Iwobi won't be able to feature either because obviously he's literally just signed, but we'll talk about all of them in just a second. And Alex Hayes says R7. Yeah, exactly. We'll go on to that first because it's not really relevant to tomorrow's game, but it's a little bit of news that I wanted to talk about. So basically, like I said, the squad numbers have been released. There's been a couple of noticeable changes. Most players have stayed the same. Obviously, we know the numbers of the new players. Moise Kean picking up number 27. Of course, for example, Fabian Delph picking up number 8. In terms of the changes to the current squad, so Richarlison has gone from number 31 to number 7. Hopefully that, Everton number 7 case doesn't affect him and we actually see a fantastic number 7. We haven't seen one of them for quite a while. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has gone to number 9, and Michael Keane has gone to number 5 as well. They're the biggest sort of noticeable changes, I suppose. Obviously, other players have come in and picked up numbers, Alex Iwobi, etc., of course. In terms of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I wanted to briefly talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I've seen a little bit of negativity on Twitter. I've seen a little bit of negativity on social media regarding Dominic Calvert-Lewin picking up the number 9 shirt, and I just want to say, I understand that some fans are, think that the number 9 shirt should be a prestigious number. It should be given to a player that's earned it, that deserves it. However, if you look back at our last 2 number 9s, well, not our last 2, obviously Lukaku was one of them, but if you look back at previously over the last 4 years and look at some of our number 9s, we've had Aruna Kone, we've had Sandro Ramirez, and for me personally, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is twice the player that both of those players are. So I don't think it's the end of the world. It's a really, really good, step for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It shows him that the club obviously got trust in him. It shows him that Marco Silva wants him to play a massive part this season, because I dare say when Moise Kean come in, he was probably feeling a little bit like, well, am I going to get, enough opportunities this season? Am I going to get me fair shot at the gun, basically. I've just made that one straight up off the top of my head, but yeah, so it's good to see that the club have obviously put that trust in him, and obviously I dare say it feels good for Dom to pick up the number 9 shirt. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily matter what number he is, it doesn't matter the number on the back of the shirt, it just matters about the badge on the front, and it matters about the performances that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's putting in. And for me, if he puts in performances like he did towards the back end of last season against the top teams, then he can carry on wearing that number 9 shirt. I dare say Moise Kean was probably offered the shirt when he come into the club, and I think his choice was probably his personal preference. However, I don't think it's something that we should look in a negative light. I think it's something we should positively look at, and I think it's something that we should come together and really back Dominic Calvert-Lewin for this, because at the end of the day, he's been given this by the club. He's been given this by Marco Silva as a sign of, listen, you're still in our plans. You are still gonna be a big part of this squad going forward. So here's a number 9 shirt, and obviously keep putting up the good work. And I think we need to sort of jump on that wagon as well, and not just jump on it and say, oh, he shouldn't be number 9 because he hasn't earned that, because I don't think that's the way to go about things. Where are we? Football Fan says, hi, please answer your DMs soon, and keep up the good work. I'll answer them as soon as the stream's finished, and thank you very much, of course, as usual. Go F yourself says, good evening, mate. Good evening to you too. I've deleted your other 2 comments because I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not here to talk about that. And it's obviously a little bit personal, so obviously I'm not going to answer those. I'm just going to tweet today's team out so everybody on Twitter knows we are live. They can come and join in, of course. Got 18 people watching so far. Please do hit the like button if you have enjoyed. A big thank you for all of the support over all of the content throughout the last week. Of course, it's been an absolutely manic week for Evertonians. Wasn't too much of a manic day yesterday. Nothing much happened other than the last sort of 10 minutes of the transfer window. However, like I said, a massive thank you for all of the support on the videos, because it really does mean a massive amount to me. If you're new to the channel as well, hit the subscribe button. We've got loads of content coming throughout the season. We've got, fan cams planned, we've got instant match reactions, we've got game reviews, previews, informational videos, etc. So the content will keep coming, so don't miss out, and hit that subscribe button if you are feeling nice and kind today. Bear with me just 2 seconds. Let me just sort this out in the comment section down below. Football Fan says, will you put a rolling text at the bottom? It's definitely something that I will discuss with Joe, who does the graphics for the channel. It's something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, actually. However, just not really got around to asking him to do it. So it's something that I'll discuss with Joe, because that's not my forte, that sort of stuff. I don't really deal in that sort of in that business. So I'll ask Joe definitely, because it's something that I think will improve the quality of the videos, of course. So anyway, moving on to the game. Listen, we play Crystal Palace tomorrow. It's not going to be an easy fixture, of course. First Premier League game of the season. We're going to obviously not be at our best because of, fitness reasons and obviously getting back into the swing of things. However, Crystal Palace will be in exactly the same position. It's their first game of the season as well. There's a very good possibility that they'll be without their key man, Wilfried Zaha, of course. We all know what happened with Wilfried Zaha. We know about his situation. We don't need to talk about it again. Roy Hodgson's come out today and said there's a possibility he could play. However, I'd be very surprised if Wilfried Zaha is in the starting 11 for Crystal Palace tomorrow. Not only because of everything that's happened in the past week about a transfer and obviously about him being unhappy that he stayed at the club, but also because he's only just come back from international duty not that long ago as well. So he won't have had as much training, he won't have had as much preparation as the majority of their squad. So like I said, I would be surprised if he is in the starting 11. However, like I said, a tough team, a team that, we scored 2 late goals last year at Goodison Park to beat them, of course. Marco Silva made 3 substitutions, and all 3 substitutions got involved. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring at header, and then Cenk Tosun scoring at the other end. And then, of course, the reverse fixture towards the back end of the season was at a point where, we're beating sort of some of the big teams, and you were sort of thinking, right, okay, we can go out there and we can beat Crystal Palace and we can keep this sort of run of good form going. And we weren't awful in that game, but we just couldn't find the back of the net. We just couldn't create the opportunities that we needed to win the game of football. And I think that was something that sort of frustrated a lot of Evertonians and frustrated a lot of the players as well, because like I said, it was at a point in the season where we were in a good run of form. We were performing well, we were winning games of football, and we just couldn't get past them. Now, like I said, it'll be a big miss for them if they don't have Wilfried Zaha. He is their sort of outlet for goals, realistically. I've said it multiple times before, and I'll say it again because we're playing them. For me, he is the difference between them being a championship club and a Premier League club. Of course, he may feature at some part. He may start. Roy Hodgson might just throw him straight in the deep end. If not, he may come off the bench at some point. However, like I said, with or without Wilfried Zaha, this should be a game of football that we look to go out and win, because like I said, it's not the toughest game, but it's also not the easiest game. Going over to Selhurst Park never is an easy fixture. But it depends obviously on what side Marco Silva decides to put out. So I've got my predicted starting 11 up just next to me there. Have a little look at it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave your predicted starting 11 in the comment section down below as well. We'll go through it. Of course, I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal, a back four of Luca Dean, Yerry Mina, Michael Keane and Seamus Coleman. Now, obviously, we'll talk about it in sections because it's the first game of the season. There's been a lot of new signings, and I understand that, people might want to, get to grips as to why I've put certain players in and why I've kept certain players out. So obviously Jordan Pickford stays in. We brought in a decent number 2 goalkeeper in Jonas Lersel this summer. He'll provide good cover. He'll also, he's also a Premier League level goalkeeper, so he will provide competition for Jordan Pickford. But let's be honest, he's not going to get in over him, is he? Let's be honest. Back four of course, Luca Dean, who I believe, we would all agree on. Seamus Coleman, who I think will start the season. Obviously, we've brought in Djibril Sidibe as competition for the right-back position, as cover for the right-back position. I think Djibril Sidibe will get his fair share of games this season. I do think we'll see a period of time where he is starting ahead of Seamus. However, at the minute, Seamus is the club captain, he's the team captain, so I think it's only fair that he comes in, he starts the season, and obviously we'll start to see, where Seamus's levels are at, because we know he started the season quite poorly last season. He wasn't quite up to speed. And he hasn't really had any competition over the sort of 8-9 years that he's been at Everton. He hasn't had any solid competition, and he's got that now in Djibril Sidibe. So for me, Seamus will start. Obviously, he'll probably take the armband as well. However, he'll understand that there's a World Cup winning on the bench there that's literally knocking on the door for that right back position. So he'll have to step his game up. I expect a big game from Seamus Coleman tomorrow. Michael Keane and Yerry Mina at centre half. We discussed the centre back issue in yesterday's live stream. We said about how, universally as a fan base, we're not happy at all. We didn't bring a centre back in. We're stuck with, well, I say we're stuck as if it's a negative, but obviously we've got Michael Keane and Yerry Mina, and then without those two, we've got Mason Holgate, we've got Lewis Gibson, we've got Morgan Feeney. So if either of those gets injured, or if either of those becomes unavailable at any point between now and January, really, we are bringing in a player like, a Lewis Gibson or a Morgan Feeney from the under-23s, or we're bringing in Mason Holgate, who for me isn't a Premier League level centre-back. I just don't think he is. I don't think his awareness is good enough, and I don't think his sort of positioning is good enough either. But we spoke about that situation yesterday. We know that, the majority, if not all Everton fans, aren't very happy about that, me included. I'm not happy about that situation, but those two start for me. I've gone for the midfield 3 of Andre Gomez, Jean-Philippe Gbamin, and we'll talk about him more specifically in a minute, and Gylfi Sigurdsson. Now, I think the Gylfi Sigurdsson and the Andre Gomez situations is pretty self-explanatory. Like you said, some people were maybe wondering whether a debut for Fabian Delph would be in place. However, Marco Silva confirmed in the pre-game press conference today that Fabian Delph is in fact injured. The injury that he sustained in pre-season is going to keep him out for a couple of weeks, so he won't be available for tomorrow. Gylfi Sigurdsson, like I said, his position is pretty much solid at the minute. Obviously, Alex Iwobi's come in. Marco Silva also said today that he sees Alex Iwobi as a left midfield player, a left wing player. That's where he looks to play him. However, we do know he can play in that number 10 role. We do know he can play as an attacking midfielder. However, of course, only signed yesterday, hasn't had any training yet. dare say probably hasn't met most of his teammates yet either. So I don't think he'll play. I don't think he'll feature at any point tomorrow. I don't think he can feature either because he signed after 12 noon. So like I said, Gylfi Sigurdsson at the minute keeps his place. Now the only other midfield position that I was a bit sceptical about, I didn't know who to put in, was obviously next to Andre Gomez. I put Jean-Philippe Gbamin in for his debut. Now it was a toss-up between him and Morgan Schneiderlin for me. Obviously, Marco Silva was asked about Morgan Schneiderlin today. There was rumours last week that he could potentially go out to Galatasaray on a loan deal. Morgan Schneiderlin was topic of conversation today at Marco Silva's press conference, and Marco Silva denied all rumours and said that Morgan Schneiderlin was going to remain at Everton Football Club. Everton had a little graphic for it. It was like a little announcement, and for me, it made me sit there and it made me think, well, maybe Morgan will come in tomorrow in replacement of Idrissa Gana Gueye. Of course, we know that Jean-Philippe Gbamin had his press conference last week when he first signed. He was asked a direct question, would you be ready for the opening game of the season? And he sort of hesitated around it. He sort of said, I don't know whether this week's the right week. However, I'm working hard and I hope to be, in the team in the next couple of weeks. But then Moise Kean come out and said, yes, I'm 100% ready. And then Gbamin sort of went, oh, I'm ready. I am ready, sort of. So I don't know where he stands on that one. Now, I've put Jean-Philippe Gbamin in purely because I want to see a new signing in this starting 11, of course. And I don't think that'll be Moise Kean. However, I would not be surprised if Marco Silva goes with Morgan Schneiderlin instead, and we see a starting 11 that we would have seen towards the back end of the last season. If Jean-Philippe Gbamin doesn't feel like he's ready in himself, if he feels like he needs a little bit more time, then I dare say Marco Silva will opt to put in Morgan Schneiderlin. Obviously there's an argument up front as well with Moise Kean. We'll go on to talking about that in just a second. However, for me it is a toss-up between those two. I know Tom Davies is probably in the conversation as well. However, I think for Marco Silva it's a decision between Morgan Schneiderlin and Jean-Philippe Gbamin, and it all really depends on if Gbamin turns round tomorrow and says, yeah, I'm ready and I want to start. Marco Silva might already have in his mind that he's not going to play either of any of the new signings until next week, and he's maybe going to bring them on for 20 minutes, half an hour tomorrow to give them a little bit of Premier League experience, to give them that taste, but he's not going to start them. So I've personally gone with Jean-Philippe Gbamin because I would love to see him and I want to see a new player in the starting 11. However, I would not be surprised if Morgan Schneiderlin is placed next to Andre Gomez. Obviously, we've just spoken about Gylfi Sigurdsson. He takes up the number 10 spot, and then up front I've gone for Bernard on the left, Richarlison on the right, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Now obviously Richarlison takes his place on the right hand side, our new number 7. I think that was pretty much self-explanatory at the minute when we failed to sign Wilfried Zaha yesterday. It become quite adamant that Richarlison was probably going to adapt that number, that right wing position once again, just like he did towards the back end of last season. Bernard on the left, of course, like we said. Marco Silva did say today that he sees Alex Iwobi as a left midfield player. He sees Alex Iwobi as someone that can come in and play off the left. However, yeah, he's not available for tomorrow and he's not ready for tomorrow, so I dare say Bernard will come in. There's no reason to not put Bernard in. Obviously, he ended the season really, really strong. He was fantastic for us last season, so creative, so skillful, and he's only going to have got better after having a full pre-season under his belt, of course. So I dare say Bernard will be on the left, and then I've gone for Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Now I know this is one that might have some disputes in the comments. I know this is one that people might disagree with. Now, it was purely a toss-up between Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Moise Kean. Moise Kean's obviously come out in midweek and said, yes, I'm ready, yes, I want to start, yes, I want to play. Now, it's all well and good saying that, and it's absolutely unbelievable that Moise Kean's come out and said that, because it shows that he's hungry, it shows that he wants to be involved, it shows that, he wants to, get the ground running sort of quickly. However, I do think Marco Silva will be a little bit protective of him. He's an experienced coach. He understands that this lad's a 19-year-old coming in from a different country. Obviously, it's a whole different culture. He's only had, just over, not even a week. He'd have had 6 days. He'd have had 6 days to settle in with his new teammates. Obviously, he's had a week at training and stuff, so he would have been a little bit more advanced than Alex Iwobi, for example. However, like I said, it's a whole new league for him, and I just don't know whether Marco Silva will throw him in at the deep end straight away. Palace are a team that are going to sit back. They're going to try and defend. They're going to try and obviously hit us on the break and try and avoid conceding goals, and I don't really think Marco Silva will risk throwing him straight in, putting him in the deep end and saying, right, go wild. He might do, don't get me wrong, he might be really, really impressed with what he's seen in this week's training, as I'm sure we all are from the videos that we've seen. However, I just think that Marco Silva will go with the safe option to start with. He'll put Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and obviously he's got plans for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's given him a lot of trust, giving him the number 9 shirt, so I do think that Marco Silva will go with Dominic Calvert-Lewin at first, keep him in the starting 11, obviously, see how it goes after 45 minutes, see how it goes after 60 minutes, and then bring Moise Kean on as sort of an impact substitution, if you like, a player that, you know, on 60, 70 minutes when Palace are starting to tire, if we maybe need a goal, if, you know, we're looking positive, bring Moise Kean on, and that's the opportunity that he's got nothing to lose at that point. He can come on and he can say, right, I'm going to impress now, I'm going to get my head down and I'm going to show that I should be in this starting 11, whereas my worry is that if he played from the off, he'd be, you know, a little bit hesitant, he might be a little bit shy, he mightn't be as comfortable as he would be if he sat there, watched us, you know, hopefully dominate a game of football for 60 minutes and then he's being sort of let loose to go and have fun himself, of course. So I think that Marco Silva will go with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Of course, he may go with Moise Kean. I just don't think he'd throw him in straight away. Obviously, he's a young striker. He's coming in a whole new country, a whole new league, a massively different league to the Italian league. And I just think Marco Silva will be a little bit careful and a little bit sort of cautious with him. And he might, you know, for the first couple of games of the season, keep him on the bench and then, you know, put him on for, I don't know, 20 minutes tomorrow afternoon and then maybe 40 minutes or 30 minutes next week. And then that's when he might start to break into the starting 11. But of course, like I said, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you know, played really, really good toward the back end of last season. He's a decent striker. Yes, he could add goals to the game, but if it gets to the point where we're 40, 50, you know, 50, 60 minutes in, tomorrow and we need a goal, then you know you've got the firepower of Moise Kean on the bench who's going to be ready to step in and is going to want to prove a point. So anyway, that's my predicted starting 11. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? It mightn't be the starting 11 that I'd absolutely want to see. However, it is the starting 11 and I think Marco Silva will go with. Let me know your thoughts. Like I said, do you agree with me? Do you think that's the starting 11 Marco Silva will go with, or do you just think he'll go balls to the wall and he'll stick Jean-Philippe Gbamin straight away? Like I've mentioned, he'll stick Moise Kean straight in. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And also, if you disagree, leave me your predicted starting 11s as well. It'd be really, really interesting to have a read of them. If you're not enjoying today's team so far, please do hit the like button. It means an absolute massive amount to me. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. We're so close to 700 subscribers now. The support has been absolutely unbelievable on the channel. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are new and you're enjoying what you're seeing. The Phenomenal One live stream says, I'm just glad we got a striking in the season, mate. Can't believe everybody's gutted over not getting Zaha. It baffles me. Yeah, you know what? I think it's been a really good transfer window. I really do. We spoke about it yesterday. Yes, the Zaha situation is very disappointing, and obviously the way Palace handled things was very disappointing. We didn't put an official second bid in, but of course we were talking to Palace, we were talking to the player, or at least we were attempting to talk to Crystal Palace, and they were just knocking it back constantly. They were upping the bid every 2 minutes. They were saying they wanted the majority of it up front, and that just isn't possible. It wasn't possible at that moment, but I genuinely do think it was a top transfer window. Obviously the centre-back issue is something we've discussed. The centre-back issue is something that none of us are happy with, and that's the only downer for me on the transfer window. Not bringing Wilfried Zaha in, not failing to sign Wilfried Zaha. The only real downer on this transfer window for me is the fact that we didn't bring in a centre-half. However, it doesn't mean it was a bad transfer window. You look at the players we brought in a decent number 2 goalkeeper to you know, at least give some competition to Jordan Pickford. Granted, he might end up, you know, getting in ahead of him, but he'll give him competition. We've brought in a right-back who will undoubtedly give competition to Seamus Coleman and also is really good cover if needed. We've brought in a replacement for Idrissa Gana Gueye, who's a different player to Idrissa Gana Gueye, but very physically strong, very good technically as well on the ball, not afraid to break forward, not afraid to run at players, will give us something more going forward. We've brought in Andre Gomez, who everyone was screaming for towards the back end of last season. Everybody massively wanted us to sign him on a permanent deal. We've brought in Moise Kean up front, of course. We've brought in a Premier League winner in Fabian Delph. We've brought in Alex Iwobi, who's a decent creative player. So I genuinely think it has been a decent transfer window. If we'd have brought a centre-half, it would have obviously been a lot better. However, doesn't mean that it's bad because we haven't. Football Fan says, would you ever like to have a fan of a different club on, aka maybe don't play each other until December? I'm probably just going to keep it to Everton at the minute because it is an Everton fan channel. It's a channel regarding Everton and not genetically football. Obviously, when we come to play different teams, I'm more than open and more than happy to have other fans of other, you know, teams come on and discuss the game and discuss their club. But in terms of just in general, I'm probably just going to keep it to Everton at the minute because it is an Everton fan channel and that is my passion. I'm not really a massive lover of football, to be honest. I don't watch a lot of other football games. I'm just massively in love with Everton Football Club and Everton. If any other teams on, like them shite tonight, I probably won't watch them because I'm not arsed. I know they'll run rings around them, and I know Sky Sports have put it on because it suits them and they absolutely love Liverpool. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But who knows in the future? Who knows? I might make a separate channle for all of this football sorts of stuff. Ian says maybe all the newbies will be on the bench. I dare say the majority of them will, like I said. Fabian Delph's out injured, of course. Alex Iwobi won't be able to feature. But the likes of Jean-Philippe Gbamin, Moise Kean, we expecting Andre Gomes to start, Djibril Sidibe as well. I dare say they'll play from the bench if Marco Silva doesn't opt with the chance to bring in Jean-Philippe Gbamin for his debut. Football Fan says, don't understand these idiots. Me neither. Football Fan also says, how are you doing your fan cams and who's your cameraman, Joe? It won't be Joe. If I'm doing the fan cams, I will have a cameraman. There's a couple of people that I've got in mind. So hopefully we can get that sorted. Evertonian TV says, hi Cameron, hi, hope you are doing well. Mikey Clark says, I think if the game is 0-0 and it's towards the 60-70 minute, I think Keane will come on. Yeah, exactly, and that's the perfect time for Moise Kean to come on, because then he's coming on in himself and he understands that it's his chance to prove everything. It's his chance to get the winning goal. It's his chance to, be in the eyes of Marco Silva. Whereas if he starts off the bat and he struggles and we don't get, many balls threaded to him and we struggle to create opportunities exactly like we did at Selhurst Park last season, then I think it might have a knock-on effect on him. Whereas if we start the game and we're winning by the 60-70 minute and he comes on, he's got nothing to lose, and if we're drawing, obviously he's coming on with this sort of the pressure on him to get the winning goal. But if he doesn't get the winning goal, it's not his fault. He's lost nothing. You can't really turn to him either. Shan Hubert says, turns out Fernando Llorente is a free agent. Gylfi had a good partnership with Llorente in the past. Would you consider him as a second or third choice forward? Purely depends how much money he'd want. I would consider bringing him in. I don't think he's fantastic. I don't think he's good enough to take us to that next level that we all want to be at. However, I think he's a decent forward, and on a free, coming in to be a backup to Moise Kean, to be a backup to maybe Calvert-Lewin, depending on how much more money he'd want a week. If he wanted anything north of 100 grand, I probably wouldn't do that deal. Mikey says, wouldn't start Snidland as it's a game that we should go with someone more offensive to break them down. Despite him not being able to play, Iwobi will be perfect for this type of game. I agree 100%. Iwobi would have been perfect for this type of game, of course, but we managed to sign him too late on. In terms of that sort of would, be a massive opportunity for Jean-Philippe Gbamin. Then he is a central midfielder, defensive midfielder that will push teams forward, will run at players. Isn't, is similar to a Disagana game in many, many ways, but isn't similar in the way that, he will go forward. He will look for that threaded pass straight through. He will look to break teams down. He will look to create opportunities. Now, again, very, very similar to Djibril Sidibe. In fact, he also likes to break down the wing, and instead of what we've seen with Seamus Coleman, where he likes to go to the byline and cross it in, Djibril Sidibe likes to cut in and likes to play a threaded pass through the middle, through the box, and pick a player out. That's exactly what Alex Iwobi does, and I agree 100%, Mikey. I think Alex Iwobi would have been perfect for this game. Like you said, Palace aren't the best team. They're a decent side at home. We struggled to break them down last season. However, we've got a lot more creativity in the team now, even without Iwobi being able to play. Like I said, you've got Sidibe, who, of course, is a right back, but he's a more creative right back. You've got Gbamin, who is a creative player as well, and you've got Moise Kean, of course, who is, he's the striker that we've all been crying out for quite some time. So, like I said, I do predict a decent game of football, and I do see us winning this game, hopefully. Like I said, realistically, if they're without Wilfried Zaha, that's their outlet for goals gone. So, I don't think there's an excuse. If Wilfried Zaha's not on that team sheet tomorrow, if he's not in that squad for Crystal Palace, I think there's an excuse. We need to go balls to the wall, and we need to, no messing about. We'll ease our way into the game, go in, and you play to your potential, and we get a 3 points this game. We come back, and obviously we'll face Watford next week and get 3 points there as well. It's really, really important that within this next sort of 3 to 4 to 5 weeks, we get as many points as we can on the board, because we're playing teams that realistically we should be beating, we should be getting 3 points from, because then we've got a 4-5 week period where we're playing the top 5, the top 6 sides, and don't get me wrong, we can still win those games as proven last season, but it'll be a lot more difficult, of course. Craig says, seems as we got to use last season's third kit tomorrow, does that mean we can play Garner and Zuma? Haha, just joking. Yeah, hopefully. No, not hopefully, obviously not, but it would be amazing if we could win. It'd be amazing if we turned around and went, listen, John Moss obviously can't tell the difference between pink and red when our kit's quite clearly coddle and more orangey than anything. So that must mean that we can bring in Zuma, we can bring in Garner, and yeah, and we can play all those players. We can play those 2 players, and we should just get the 3 points as well, because John Moss is at it. No, it'll never happen, of course, but it would be nice. Graham says, what if DCL gets a hat-trick tomorrow? Boss, brilliant. If DCL gets a hat-trick tomorrow, then happy days, mate. Happy days. He plays again for me against Watford, and Moise Kean has to work his way in, and he has to show Marco Silva why he should be in the starting 11. there's no negative if Dominic Calvert-Lewin goes out there and continues to score goals in the first few games of the season. It just means Moise Kean's got to work twice as hard to get in this team, and he's got to be putting in the same sort of performances. So I'd be absolutely over the moon if Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored an hat-trick tomorrow. Gavin says, yeah, he does. Can't be any worse than DCL pre-season. I haven't seen a player miss so many sitters. He hasn't had the best pre-season, that is granted. However, like I said, we'll see tomorrow how he performs, and I don't necessarily think that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's pre-season performances should be much to go off, especially considering obviously his performances towards the back end of last season. But that obviously they're more recent games and he hasn't been performing fantastically. I just think that Marco Silva will sort of protect Moise Kean a little bit. Ben says, I think DCL and Kean could learn off of each other, hopefully. Yes, hopefully, fingers crossed. Scott says, 39 watching, 12 likes. Come on, people. Thank you very much, Scott. Yeah, if you're enjoying the stream so far, please do hit the like button. It really, really does mean a massive, massive amount to me. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button as well. Again, means absolute amount to me. Eddie says, we played like a team all over the pitch, but individuals in the box last season. What's the solution? Very, very good question. Very, very, very good question. I think the solution is bringing players in that are more direct in the box and are more creative, and I think that's what Marcel Brands and Marco Silva have done this season. Listen, I'm not saying that Iwobi's going to come in, and he's the answer to the question. I'm not saying that Moise Kean's going to come in and he's the answer to the question either, but these are two players that are more direct. Iwobi is direct. He threads balls through the box. He puts it on the feet of people. Obviously, Jibril Sidibe as well, despite the fact that he's a right back, he threads it into the box and he's always looking for people. And I think the answer to your question is that we need to be more creative in those areas, and we need to be more composed as well. We've seen a lot of opportunities last season where we were playing fantastically, we were passing it about, we were getting into the right positions, and then we were just going, shit, what do we do now? Bernard had about 4 or 5 good opportunities throughout the season where he was taking players on, he was getting into the box, and he'd get one-on-one with the keeper, and he wouldn't know what to do. And I think the addition of Alex Iwobi, the addition of Moise Kean, who's a striker that's got no fear whatsoever, isn't going to be worried about facing any team. It will add that creativity and it will add that sharpness to our game, and hopefully, like I said, we can be a little bit more creative and we can, in turn, score more goals, which I dare say we will. Mikey says, score prediction rate, I'm going 2-0. I'm going to go 3-1 to the Blues. Mikey says, could maybe consider 2 up front. I think Kean and DCL will complement each other well. I agree, and I think that may be something that Marco Silva looks for towards, in the next few weeks, in the next few months. I don't think he'd go with 2 up front from the back, because obviously he hasn't seen a lot of Moise Kean yet, and he doesn't know what Moise Kean's going to offer. However, I do think that's something that, if both players are firing on all cylinders, it's definitely something that he should look at. And Graham says, you're right, mate, to create competition. It does, and that's what we need in the squad at the end of the day. We need competition. We don't just need players that are backups and cover for other positions. We don't need players that you sit there and go, yeah, he's decent, he's cover for Seamus Coleman, but he's not good enough to get in the starting 11 if Seamus is fit. And that's what we had in John Joe Kenny. Listen, I love John Joe Kenny. He's been in the youth setup, of course. He's won the Premier League 2 with the under-23s. However, that was pretty much what we had with John Joe Kenny. We had a player where you went, yeah, he's decent enough, he can come in if Seamus is unfit, but he's never going to play ahead of Seamus. He's not good enough. We don't need that. We need players that you look at and go, you know what, he could start this week above Seamus, because Seamus hasn't been fantastic and he's a World Cup winner, and he can put in a decent performance. That's what we need. We need that in every single position throughout the park, and I think that's what we've come out of this summer transfer window with. We've come out with at least 2 players in each position, really, that are competitive with each other, and not just a starter and then somebody that isn't as good, so isn't going to play ahead of them, but is decent enough to play in the Premier League. Anyway, moving on, of course, like I said, it's not going to be an easy game. It's, by all means, I don't expect us to go out and blow, Palace 3-4-5-0. However, I am confident. I do think we've got, more than enough to get the 3 points. I think the players, obviously the new lads, if they start, whether they started, whether they come off the bench, have got more than enough to, create issues for Crystal Palace. It's a massive, massive positive for Everton if Wilfred Zaha doesn't play. Like I said, taking away the whole transfer debacle, taking away the transfer situation. He, obviously, has not long come back from international duty as well, so he wasn't always in the running for this game of football anyway, and like I said, that takes their scoring outlet, that takes their goals out of their team, and like I said, that shouldn't be too hard to deal with defensively, and it's just about creating the opportunities. We didn't do it enough at Selhurst Park last year. We didn't create enough opportunities, and the opportunities we did create, we didn't put away. And I think now it's really, really important that Dominic Calvert-Lewin steps his game up, because he's got one of the best young centre-forwards in world football behind him that's going to be banging on the door. If not banging on the door, will be starting the game instead of him. So it's really, really positive, obviously, going into the season. I think it's been a really, really positive transfer window. Yesterday, we'll forget about yesterday, because that was, that was what it was. That wasn't fantastic, of course. But I think overall, in terms of the transfer window as a whole, it's been really, really positive. In terms of going into the season, I'm really positive. We've brought some fantastic players in. We've brought some really creative players in, and we've brought some players that can hurt opposition and that can run at teams. And in this Premier League, if you run at a lot of teams, they will sort of fall back and they will crumble. And I expect players like Jean-Philippe Gabam and Alex Iwobi to do that. Of course, Alex Iwobi won't be able to feature tomorrow, and we mightn't see Jean-Philippe Gabam from the start. But if none of the new signings start the game, I dare say they'll come on at some point throughout the game, whether it be 50th minute, 60th minute. I dare say they'll feature in some form, and hopefully they come on and they make a massive impact. And then Marco Silva's got a decision to make then for Watford next week. Anyway, obviously, like I said, first game of the season tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know your predictions as well. One last thing I want to talk about before we go. It has been announced by Everton finally, after the debacle about, playing in last year's third kit today. It's been announced that the new third kit, the 2019-2020 third kit, will be revealed and released on the 23rd of August. So they obviously understand that, it's not the most ideal situation that we're having to play in last year's kit, because we haven't got a kit for this season. So they've released the information that it will be revealed and released on the 23rd of August. So in a couple of weeks' time, of course. But for now, we're playing this one tomorrow. I actually really, really love this kit. I think it's really, really smart. It's one of my favourite Everton kits for quite a while. And I can't wait to hopefully see some of the new signings in it. Moise Kean, Jean-Philippe Gabam, of course. And I think we should be really positive going into tomorrow. Like I said, in terms of the new signings, of course, Jibril Sidibe will probably be involved in some form, or will at least be in, the 18. Jean-Philippe Gabam will be in the 18. Moise Kean will be in the 18. Alex Iwobi won't be able to play, and neither will Fabian Delph because he's injured. However, of course, you'll have Andre Gomez in there. So it's really, really positive going into the game tomorrow. Crystal Palace have strengthened in places as well, but I genuinely think we should have enough to beat them, and should have enough to get the first 3 points of the season on the board. And if we do, we move on, then we get 3 points on the board, and we go on obviously to next week, our first home game of the season at Goodison Park. The atmosphere will be electric. You'll see more of Moise Kean, you'll see more of Jean-Philippe Gabam, I dare say. So let's hope we can go out there tomorrow, get the 3 points, and then move on. Of course, it's a really, really important game. You want to start the season well, and you want to start the season with a win, especially considering we've got a run of 4 or 5 games now where we need to be picking up as much points as possible, because we then go into playing some really, really tough teams. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on tomorrow's game. Diving into the live comments now before we go. Where are we? The Phenomenal One live team says Coleman's had no competition for about 8 years. Exactly. The 8 years that he's been here, he's had no competition. Or, he's been here a little bit longer, but he's had no competition whatsoever. So it's fantastic to see a player come in that can provide that competition. Kiari says, hey Cam, would you consider creating a website for blogs and posting these videos? News Now Everton will pick up on your videos, etc. And that will bring more viewers for you. Definitely something, again, that I'm going to look at. I'm going to sit down when I'm not streaming, of course. Usually I do Monday, Wednesday and Friday. It's been a manic week this week, so I've streamed every single day. But, on the days that I don't stream, so Tuesdays and Thursdays, etc., and the weekends, obviously, where, we're not playing and it's a little bit less manic, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to seriously look at a website. I'm going to seriously look at an Instagram page, more socials as well, so we can spread the word to as many people as possible. Because like I said, this isn't just a channel about me. It's not Camden's channel. It's the Mighty Blues. It's an Everton fan channel, and it's important that we all come and we all have our opinions, because going through Twitter yesterday, going through doing the live stream, of course, there was a plethora of different opinions yesterday, and that's the most important, is that we all sit here and we all discuss those. So definitely something I'll look into. Thank you very much for the suggestion. Ben says, are you going to do any more videos with the lads from Toffee TV? Yes, definitely. It's just a case of when we're both sort of available and when I'm available to be able to go down to the studio. But definitely, I'm in contact with the lads from Toffee TV all the time, and hopefully you'll see me on there very, very soon. Mikey says, JP Gabam may also be vital in this type of game as he can drive forward. Exactly, again, like I said, he's the type of midfielder that will drive forward, that will push Palace, that will push them back naturally, and he is also a creative player as well. Graham says, thanks for the great team. Thank you very much, Graham. Thanks for getting involved as per usual. And Scott says, bring back Tony Hibbo. Yeah, if only. Remember the days of Tony Hibbo and Leon Osman and They were the days, weren't they? They were the days. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. A massive, massive thank you to everybody for watching. Once again, please do leave a like on the stream if you have enjoyed it. Really, really does mean a massive, massive amount to me. Hit the subscribe button if you're new as well. You know, if you're new and you like the content and you want more content, of course, like I said, we'll be uploading, live streaming at least 3 times a week. Every week we'll be doing instant match reactions, previews, reviews, all that good stuff. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification if you are new. Massive, massive game for Everton Football Club tomorrow. Let's get 3 points on the board. Let's start the season as we mean to go on. Let's go there and get the job done. I'm going for 3-1. Let me know your predictions in the comment section down below. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your comments about everything that we've spoken about and I'll go through them and reply to them all night as well. Once again, a massive, massive thank you to everybody in the live comments as per usual. It really, really means a massive amount to me and everybody watching on YouTube, of course. Ian says, have you got a fancy football team? I don't at the minute. Again, something that hopefully before tomorrow afternoon I'm going to sit down and I'm going to look at. I might try and do that tonight, but I haven't actually downloaded the app yet and I haven't got one yet. Mike says, if we were never linked with Zaha, then Iwobi would have come across as a much better signing. Spot on, mate. Spot on. We spoke about Iwobi yesterday and we spoke about how I feel like he's been a victim really of the Zaha situation and people sort of comparing the Iwobi signing to the Zaha signing, because I think we can all agree that, you know, it would have been more beneficial to have Wilfred Zaha, but it doesn't mean that Alex Iwobi offers nothing to the club. Doesn't mean that he's not a good footballer. He certainly is, and he will offer a lot of creativity going forward, and we'll see that within the next couple of weeks, of course. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. A massive, massive thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. I'll see you after hopefully Everton have beaten Crystal Palace, and we've got 3 points on the board, and we're all massively, massively happy and optimistic going into the new season. But that's going to do it from me. A massive, massive thank you for watching. Once again, a massive thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.